Hello, and thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tab. Glad you're here today. Today I'm going to be talking about my take on the VA SITREP's conversation on YouTube about burn pits for Gulf War era veterans and Agent Orange through the PACT Act. If that's something that you're interested in, please hit the like button, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. You know, one of the things when I listened to that video and watched it, that really I think they could have done a better job on was really explaining the power of presumptive conditions. There was a couple points in there. They kind of corrected it, so I mean, it's not. They just didn't do a good enough job, in my opinion. They alluded to. For example, if you are a Vietnam veteran, you were in Vietnam, and you think you were exposed to Agent Orange, that's the wrong message to send. It has nothing to do with if you think you were exposed to Agent Orange. It has to do with, were you there in Vietnam, in this instance, and do you have a condition listed as a presumptive? If both of those things are true, then that's what the presumptive takes care of. So it kind of bothered me because it makes people self-segregate out of benefits that they've earned. So if I was in Vietnam, but I don't think that I was exposed to Agent Orange, now I'm not going to file a claim. And I could have that condition, whatever it is. We'll say the two new ones through the PACT Act for Agent Orange, presumptive conditions is hypertension. So really it's high blood pressure or hypertension. And the other one is monoclonal gammopathy. And for those conditions, if you have that condition or one of those conditions or one of all of the other presumptives that are already in existence, like ischemic heart disease or diabetes, a whole host of cancers. If you have any of those and you served in Vietnam, that's a presumptive condition. If you served in Vietnam during the time frames allocated by the VA and you have one of those conditions, that's all you need to prove. Prove I was there, prove I have the condition, and my claim is taken care of. So throwing in that caveat of if you feel as though or you think that you were exposed to Agent Orange means that if somebody doesn't think that they were exposed for whatever reason, then they're not going to go apply for these benefits that they've actually earned simply by the law of the presumptive, which is I served during this time frame and I have this condition. So the presumptive conditions eliminates the need for a nexus. You do not need to prove that that condition was a result of your time in service. That goes away. That's the power of the presumptive. So with the PACT Act doesn't create presumptive conditions. It just added some presumptive conditions for the Vietnam era veterans. So it added 2. Now, what it did do was it added a whole list of presumptives for our Gulf War veterans. So anyone who basically served Middle East area, there's a whole list of countries. I did a prior video, and I'll put this information in the description below as well. But there's a whole list of countries, time frames, all that good stuff. And again, the way that it works is if you served in one of these countries during a specific time period and you have one of these types of conditions, so for the Gulf War folks, there's a whole host of cancers, okay, that if you had one of these cancers or you have one of these cancers, then it's now a presumptive. And then it's also got a whole list of other illnesses like bronchitis, asthma, rhinitis, sinusitis, COPD. So if you have any of those conditions and you served in one of the listed countries within a certain amount of time frame, now you don't need to be there the whole time frame, 1 day. Same thing for our Agent Orange folks. If you were there, period. Doesn't matter if it was for 30 minutes, 30 days, 3 years, doesn't matter. It's just the fact you were there. So, and that includes through the Blue Water Navy stuff that came through a while back. I can't remember which law went through. Mission Act's in my head, but I don't remember off the top of it. But 12 nautical miles from land, so like 12 miles off the shores of Vietnam, then you are also deemed as being exposed to Agent Orange. So again, the big point here on my take with this VA SITREP YouTube channel was great information. They got it out there. They have huge number of subscribers, all that good stuff. The guest speaker tried to lean in a little bit on the power of the presumptive, but I don't think it was as impactful as it should have been or could have been. Presumptives are absolutely amazing, and unfortunately a lot of veterans think, well, I served there 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, 55 years ago, whatever it is, and now I have this condition. There's no way that I can go back and say that that was because of my time in service. Oh, yes, you can. With the power of the presumptives, it takes away the need to prove that condition was a result of your service. The VA is essentially conceding that, yes, we agree, if you have that condition, it is because of your time in service during this time period, and they will go ahead and grant that. Now, for all other conditions, you can still file for other things that are not presumptive, and in that case, you have to prove the nexus, okay? The nexus is the link between your time in service and your condition. So you would have to somehow prove that your condition manifested during your time in service. The easiest way is if you actually had a diagnosis within your time of service, because the diagnosis date in your medical records would show that it was, manifested during that time frame. Or if you, during a physical annual health assessment, maybe your exit health assessment, you checked a box or something. Let's say you checked the box for migraine headaches or gastroesophageal reflux disease, and now that becomes your nexus. Look, I first complained about this condition when I was in service, so I'm showing that it had manifested during that time frame. And really, that's the whole point of these presumptives, is that it eliminates the need to prove any of that. So with that, I'll go ahead and conclude it. Thank you all for your service. I appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.